morning. Happy Tuesday today. Is it Tuesday, Nick?
I think it is. I
Is it
think it is
Tuesday?
Tuesday. I'm
Yeah,
just waiting for the live bit. There we are. It's there.
it's
We're up.
on. It's on. We're there. We're
We're up.
there.
It's Tuesday. It's your turn. Well, it's not
It's Seb's turn.
because Seb hit the topic last night,
He did. And the
which was
topic was,
elephants.
say it again.
Elephants.
Elephants. So, if you didn't see the episode yesterday, please hop on because I was joined by a little boy with lots of fluffy elephants on my lap for the duration of half the call. And he chose a topic for today, and it was elephants. And I can't let my boy down, right? So, Nick, you're going to be surprised. I found a topic that we can use.
Right. I really like. I know you're creative. I mean, we did a whole like live on creativeness, but I am dying. This is one of those like, right, I've got my mug and I'm ready to find out how you're going to turn elephants into something relevant to business.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
It is the elephant ecosystem, right? All about building community and collaboration.
Oh, okay, I get it. Like, because elephants, like, they're families, aren't they?
Yeah, like no elephant can thrive alone. And that's the same in business. Like you can't do it all on your own. So I think this is actually a really good way to explain team working, having a really good relationship, having a powerful community and circle around you, and actually identifying who are your five power people that you surround yourself with. Because every single business training, motivational training, and motivational speaker will always say you are most like the five people you spend time with.
Well, that has me in trouble to start off with because we spend quite a bit of time together. So that worries me. But I need to interject here because we said that these lives were going to be about us being like that totally unfiltered thing. Whenever I hear the word community, um, that I literally get those shivers down my spine in a bad way, not the excited way. I really struggle with community because when I think about that word related to business, I'm either thinking about past experiences of being an employee where everyone tells you you're in the same team and you need to work together. And what that basically means is me doing a lot of work and no one else doing any. Or in business, very often it's that, in my mind, fake community where you're just filled with positivity all the time and it's not real. And I can't, I struggle to connect in that type of community. Therefore, I tend to avoid that word at all costs.
Okay, so there's a few things going on here because what you've said isn't wrong. However, that is your perception of community, and I think it's a little bit skewed, right? What community actually means is it's a group of people, and by group, it's three or more, right? So it doesn't have to be hundreds of people, it could just be three, right? It's a group of people who are enabling each other to be super focused, super honest, and share like minded ideas, woes, worries in an open platform where you trust each other.
Well, that's a lot more appealing than my concept of community, I will say.
It's not a scary place to be in a community. And nine times out of 10, when you're building your own business, you actually build your own community. So it'll never be forced or fake because you're the one who is leading that build. So you're already attracting and finding people who are like minded like you to then come in and help with different elements of your business. Who do you want to work with? Who do you want your customers to be? So that forced community that you maybe have once had to step into in previous times, examples, things like that, it's not actually going to be something in your team now because you're making your own decisions off the back of your own business.
Makes good sense. Makes good sense. But again, I'm going to be really honest. When you say like build a community, that puts the fear of God in me again. How do I even begin to build a community?
Okay, great. So, hi Nicola, how are you? You okay? I've got this really good business idea, but unfortunately, I'm not very good at systems, and I know you are. Is there any way you could collaborate with me and come and help me build some spreadsheets? Hi Sarah, how are you? Hope you're okay. I've got Nicola building spreadsheets. I'm going to do some creativity, but I need someone who can go live on social media for me every few days. Is that something that you're able to do? I like both you and Sarah. I want you both in my community. Are you going to take me up on the offer?
That doesn't feel like a community to me. That feels comfortable and happy and exciting and interesting.
Because that is what a community is. The reason you don't like communities is because you've never actually been in one of your choice.
Oh, you're so smart. When when did you get so wise, Vic?
It's that old owl on my shoulders, Nick, I tell you. Shall I tell you how I got so wise? Because my son gives me a word like elephant, and I'm like, let's build this into a lesson. And then you just unlock everything that you're passionate about, and it just works. And that's what we need to do. Have an idea, either from yourself or someone else, add it to something that you're passionate about, and then share it with the world. I mean, that's what we do in our business, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I find it super easy to connect with people who are like-minded. So by that I mean ambitious, imperfect. Um, they wanna make a difference to whatever it is that they're doing. They're excitable. They don't think that they know all of the answers, because God knows we don't. But being together with people who understand the struggle, who want to get ahead, want to change a difference, they're fed up of being overwhelmed, fed up of being isolated, that floats my boat big time. Is that our little elephant family, is it?
It is. We're a little elephant family, is our community, right? Because here's the thing, elephants always want each other to win. They always have each other's backs. They're always looking out for dangers for each other, and they're incredible animals. They never forget, which is brilliant for a community. We all need to be more like elephants, right? But here's the thing, we want mutual support. We don't want competition. We want a community that really feels like we're going somewhere, that everyone gets to win. And if we lose together and we try again. It's that kind of vibe that we want. It's not something where you have someone leading the pack, you have someone who doesn't like doing something, so they're just not going to be a key player. It's you have everyone getting involved together, and actually everyone's as important as each other as well. Like, there's no hierarchy. Yes, you might have the big boss in the business who's the CEO, and then you might have the directors and whatever, like however that line works in your business, however it looks like. But actually, when it comes to being in the community, your badge title gets left at the door. You step into that community, you take your mask off, you take your badges off, and you're just like, right, let's sit at the table, guys, and let's get to work. And that is the way it should be.
And I think that the other thing that's really important, we decided to name this series that we're doing at the moment, things we probably shouldn't say. And we've always felt really passionate about what we wanted to build within 360 Pathway, that there's these checks that happen all the time about authenticity. And part of our authenticity is that we don't know everything. We're really happy to admit that we don't know everything. We're really happy to admit that we're learning every single solitary day. We're really, really comfortable to say that actually, with those admissions comes an awful lot of freedom to be able to do collaboration, to be able to actually say, do you know what? That's a brilliant question. Anyone got any ideas here? Because you're part of not being alone is that you don't have to think of all of the answers yourself. Community is about providing the space for that collaboration, not about, you said it, Vic, like not about being the leader that is the only one that has the answers. We did a literally just before this live, we did one of our weekly Q&A sessions, and just through the conversations that we were having within our community, ideas get shared that you never would have thought of yourself. Like that's it's always the really obvious one, isn't it, Vic? Like that's really obvious. It's simple, it's obvious, but that's a great idea. And it's only in that collaboration that you're able to share those things. You said about the 5 people that you surround yourself with. You never want to be the cleverest person. You never want to be surrounding yourself with people that on whatever level you're the best at. You want to surround yourself with people that stretch you and challenge you and make you think differently, make you squirm where you're like, oh no,
Yeah.
you're making me think about something that perhaps I've been hiding from,
Yeah.
perhaps I've been denying, those types of things. That type of collaboration is only going to lead to your growth, and that's what Vic and I are all about, is how can we support you to grow in your own unique way, to triumph in your uniqueness, not to fit a mold in any shape or form.
Yeah, and I agree. And it's also when you're in that growth period and you're trying to build your own community and figure out, because you're not always going to figure out who you want in your community straight away, right? Because if you've not got one, how on earth am I going to figure out who I want in my community, right? And you need to look around of some things might need to change in your life, but you can't just cut people out. You can't just get a pair of scissors. Yeah, relationship gone. You might be able to if you want to, but I'm not as harsh as that. I like to, whittle them away. But it's the who do I pick to be in my community to give me what I need and also what they need? Because the community is about giving back as much as taking, right? And the more you give, actually, the more you'll receive because you receive it in other ways that you don't actually realize is another outlet for you. So I always tend to, let's give an example. I went on a reward success trip to Berlin, right? And Nick, you were there. We
I was.
actually had it was a lovely couple of days. It was a networking weekend. It was basically an idea to get some strategy together, have some training, and just bond and be part of a community of like-minded people. That was the whole idea of the weekend. So I knew really well 2 people who went, but I chose to spend probably 2 hours out of the whole weekend with these 2 people that I knew. And the rest of the time, I chose to work the room, I like to call it. So every breakfast, lunch, dinner, every time we sat down at a bar and a drink, I would sit next to a different person deliberately, very out of my comfort zone, but deliberately sit next to a different person that I didn't really know because I wanted to ask them, how were you successful? How many times you failed? What have you done? Blah, blah, blah. I wanted to ask all these questions. Likewise, they could ask me questions because very much I got on that trip because I was so successful on social media. And that was a huge way of how I was building my business. So they were asking me questions about social media. I was asking them, how do you build this kind of leader? How do you do that? And it's that I had to feel awkward in that moment to figure out who my 5 elephants needed to be. And then I surrounded myself with those 5 elephants. They became my community. And I then became really successful that year because everything I'd learned, I'd put into practice, but it's just having those inspirational conversations. So if you can't find your community, put yourself in a situation that is very uncomfortable and just start talking to people who inspire you.
And you talking about that has reminded me about, because I've obviously said here that like I feel really uncomfortable with communities, but what we've been talking about has made me think about another example that I can share that's like really different, but is absolutely what we've been talking about. So last year, within my Avon business, there we came up to the last quarter of the year. And there was an opportunity for me to be able to achieve a trip to South Africa, which meant that me and Andy could go to South Africa. But in order to make that happen, I needed to basically put my life on hold for a 9 week period, nose to the grindstone, make it happen. It- and I know I'm capable of doing that, but doing it on your own can be a bit of a challenge. Now, Vic said a few moments ago about you need to give and take in order for it to happen. And I'd spoken to a couple of other people who were really keen to make the achievement of a reward. It was a different trip happen, but it tied in with my goal of what I needed to do. So I set up a little WhatsApp community, and there were only four of us in there. And all it was a little bit of brainstorming and accountability. And it was just literally, I found that I benefited hugely by being accountable and popping in there each day that I'd done the things that I needed to do to get me where I was going. The people who were in the group found it hugely inspiring because they had the right mindset. I wasn't showing off. I wasn't saying that I was better than anybody else. I was holding myself accountable, but because they had the right mindset, they found it inspiring. They found it really got them to do a little bit more because it's like, oh my God, that's what Nicola's doing to get there. I need to do like a bit more. I need to do a bit more. They were sharing their ideas, being creative. Remember, I say that I'm not the most creative person on the planet, but because I was using that group for my own accountability, they got that inspiration and I got back some creative ideas. It was a community that was set up for a short period for 3 months. It worked brilliantly in that time because we had a mutual goal. It was very symbiotic. It really, really worked. Doesn't have to be a forever community, does it?
No.
Sometimes it can just be for a specific thing.
Yeah, it can be a task-based community, is what I call them. But also, if you're looking for inspiration with, work goals, personal goals, things like that, you can possibly have different communities, but longer term as well. So I have got a specific work community and I've got a specific personal life community because there's certain people who I aspire to be as a person, as a parent, that kind of thing. And there's also people who I aspire to be in my work life, in my business journey, but they're not necessarily, especially with the business ones, they're not necessarily people who have huge companies who earn £50,000 a month, who they're not those kind of people. They're people who push through any kind of boundary, no matter how hard that might be. They're people who are relentlessly consistent, no matter how hard they have to work. That is the kind of value and commitment that I need in my community. It's not the flashy cars, got this company car, got this and that. That's not what I need because that's not important to me in my community. What's important to me are people's core working values, and that's why I choose certain people in my community. And I think you have to really think about those core values, where you're going to get your inspiration from before you start picking or not picking your five people.
I love that advice. Absolutely love that advice. And I think the thing I come across the most working with different people, when you're running your own business, you can feel isolated, you can feel lonely. And when I chat to them about why they're not using the communities and the resources that are actually available to them, it always seems to be that fear of getting it wrong, of looking stupid, of just not wanting to be the thickest person in the room type feeling. And I'm not sure what advice to give about it. I always go down the route of what's the worst that could happen. So what if you are the thickest person in the room? The only thing that can happen is that you feel a little bit uncomfortable, but you gain an awful lot. And there's no point in you being the brightest person in the room. It will not grow you. So if you have that fear about like I won't know everything and they'll know everything, I almost want you to turn that into a thought of like, great, then this is the right decision for me, rather than this is a reason not to do it.
And to
Because
go back on that, Nick, like, one, we actually strive to be the thickest people in the room because all we want to do is grow, right? So that's something we strive to be. And it sounds ridiculous to people, but honestly, that's how we have gained so much knowledge in a short period of time because all we do is make sure we're the dummies in the corner who actually are walking into a group or a room of experts in the field that we want to learn in. So we strive to be the dummies, right? But also, if you have that fear, of asking a question and being laughed at, being having that opinion, that's not the right place to be. So you have to find somewhere else because anyone who wants you to thrive, anyone who wants you to succeed, they're going to answer every single question, no matter how big or small. And all right, we might all have a little laugh and a giggle, because sometimes common sense, you're like, oh, duh, you laugh at yourself in these moments, but actually, the right people in your community will always want you to succeed. So there should never be any fear about that because if you're in the right place, there's never going to be a question that isn't going to be valid.
I'm going to leave you with a closing thought today on exactly what Vic just said, right? This is day 9 of our lives, right? And she knows, she's giggling because she knows where I'm going. But when you were just saying that the common sense, it came straight into my mind, right? When we set up these lives, you need to give the live a title, right? So I give the live a title, and for 9 days, I want to be really clear. This is 9 times I've said to Vic, oh, so it's 8 because I got the first one all by myself. I've asked her what number the episode is, and every single solitary day, straight off the top of her head, she's told me it's day 7, it's day 8, it's day 9, and I'm just like, I'm like, I wish my brain was that clever. And this morning, Vic said, I really don't understand why you struggle with this, Nichola. It's the date. And that's my closing thought for you today. If you ever worry that you're going to be the thickest person in the room, if I'm there, you're in safe hands. Don't worry. Brilliant day, everybody. Bye.